Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Open Network. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming this morning and on a working day in Toronto. We're very pleased to be here with you and to present some of the opportunities that we believe exist in Khyber Pakhtoon and where we have commitment from the government side to support investments, and we'll showcase some of those investments. But before going into the slides, I would just talk about the reason why we are here today and the core issue for which we are in the government. We are working on different solutions, and we have developed a strategy for that. That core issue is that 15 million young people that we have in the province. According to 2017 census that we have, the province of Khyber Pakhtoon has over 30 million people right now. Half of them are below the age of 30 years. To any government, that's a challenge, but at the same time, that's a huge opportunity if we can actually plan for that. And to us, we believe that digital jobs can be a solution. So now, where are those digital jobs? That's a part of the bigger strategy, and the part of the reason why we are here and why we went to different other cities in the US is all linked with this. So I'll initially start with the BPO opportunities, and then we would have your questions. But in the end, I'll also go through some of the other investment opportunities that we have for the IT sector in Khyber Pakhtoon. So, and linking with the previous argument, in Khyber Pakhtoon we have a huge talent pool. Every year there are over 6,000 plus IT graduates coming out of, and they are joining the pool. Last year, the data that we collected, the total number of jobs created in Khyber Pakhtoon in the public and private sector, there were about 2,873. So there's a huge deficit, and I'm not including the other graduates. So that is the reason why we are thinking about other different forms of interventions. One of those sectors which is going to address the bottom 40% in Khyber Pakhtoon is for the BPO sector. So in terms of some of the factors that will matter to somebody who would outsource to Khyber Pakhtoon is the competitive wages and the availability of a large talent pool. So we have over 6,000 IT graduates joining the pool every year. We have, and a large majority of those graduates, they can speak English. So that's an added advantage that we have. The wages in Khyber Pakhtoon, according to PASHA is the Pakistan Software Houses Association. According to the survey that they conducted, the wages difference in terms of the skilled workforce in Khyber Pakhtoon and the major cities of Khyber Pakhtoon is 15% lower than what we have in other cities of Pakistan. In terms of the operational cost, Khyber Pakhtoon is about 44% cheaper. And I'll cite one of the examples of one of the recent operator who is coming to Khyber Pakhtoon for 1,000 seats facility. He's been operating in Vietnam also, and the per seat BPO ready building that he was charged there, it was around $89. The similar facility that we are offering in Khyber Pakhtoon to the same operator is going to cost him about 48 US dollar, which is about 5,000 rupees a month. That's a significant saving. And add on the top of that, if we add that difference in terms of wages, that's a significant saving for any of the operator. Then we also realize that we have to invest into the infrastructure that can enable more of those investors. So in the end, I'll also talk about some of the opportunities, for example, the technology city that we have in the special economic zone, where a lot of the Chinese companies have expressed their interest and they are coming in. Special economic zone, some of you might know that it has a number of incentives applicable from the federal government also in the form of 10 years tax holiday. And that is one of the projects that's officially included in the CPEC framework. So all of the Chinese government is going to be supporting that project. We also have digital city, Pakistan's first digital city that is located very close to the capital. And once we go to that slide, I'll talk about that. So these are some of the factors that we believe positions Khyber Pakhtunkhwa as the most favorable destination for outsourcing. This slide basically compares Peshawar with Karachi and Mumbai, Manila, and Cairo. In terms of the operational cost, that includes a number of other heads. And the source that we have is from the Average Global Services Research, who conducted all of the survey, and represents the average. So Peshawar is on the second lowest in terms of the overall operational cost. And Cairo is the lowest on this scale. But if we look at the changes in terms of the wages, there's significant changes, like almost 2% up variation in Cairo. So that factor is going up, while it has remained considerably stable in case of Peshawar. This slide basically presents that comparison of, on the second column, we have the commercial office space rent that we have compared with Islamabad, with Lahore, Karachi, and with Manila. So that's the 44% difference that I'm talking about, and that translates into that facility with the same sort of features and the same aspects that a BPO facility would have. Then on the last three columns, we have the wages comparisons. The source for this is also Pasha, and this represents the average. So the third column from that side represents the about $300 for low-skilled workers. Some of them are offering them $250 US, but that represents the average. So there is that 15% difference comes in terms of the wages cost, and then 44% difference comes in the form of the operational cost of the BPO-ready facility. We also believe that if someone would want to come in and start their operations, they would want to have a talent pool where they could easily find people of the required skills. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government has launched the first publicly funded digital skills program. It was quite publicized, and a lot of people really appreciated that. It was followed by the federal government, I think last year. So that trend is going on. We are training 40,000 people in a number of digital skills. That includes programming skills. That also includes like some of these Amazon Web Service, a number of certifications that are required in cybersecurity area, full stack development, and a number of other things. And some of the operators who would speak of any required skills that they would want to have, we can also incorporate in that program. The program that we work on under this project is called Youth Employment Program. So Khyber Pakhtunkhwa also has, Peshawar also has lowest attrition rates, and those who are working in the BPO industry, they would know that attrition costs a lot to the business. So in terms of attrition, Peshawar has a better position, and some of those operators who are working in Rawalpindi and Islamabad, or 50% of their workforce is also from KP. So the attrition rates in there is also low. So once they shift to those better cities in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the attrition rate is going to go further down. In terms of the compatibility of the English-speaking skills, although India and Philippines and Egypt, they started a lot earlier than we have, but on this scale, we're not doing that bad. We're on the scale of 5, which is about medium to high. It's not native. So all of the elements for support are there in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa on all of these indices. On the infrastructure, government of Khyber Pakhtoon is constructing a digital complex in Peshawar that is going to be providing those BPO-ready spaces, commercial offerings to IT sector businesses. It's located in Hyderabad, Peshawar, which is one of the best places in Peshawar. We have also started construction of Aptabad IT Park. We are also doing, on a very small scale, we are offering about 25 plots. We are offering that on commercial basis. This is a technology city that I mentioned. It is located in the special economic zone in Rashaki, which is midway between Peshawar and Islamabad. It's about 1 hour from Peshawar. Basically, technology city is to promote electronic manufacturing and assembling in Khyber Pakhtoon. And mainly the Chinese are interested in this, but there are different clusters within the technology city. So the commercials offerings are expected to start end of the year. A state-owned Chinese company is developing this as a part of the larger special economic zone. Then we have, I'll come back to this slide again. Some of you, if you are familiar with, there is a nice place in Islamabad called Munal. Munal is on that Margala Hills, and if you cross Munal, just about 10 minutes when you cross Munal, you're still in that beautiful valley. You enter again in Khyber Pakhtoon. So that's the part of district Haripur of Khyber Pakhtoon. It's very like on the bottom you can see Islamabad, all of the sectors of Islamabad. And that's the site of the digital city, Pakistan's first digital city. It's about 4,500 canals. Currently, the land is being acquired, and we are planning to start commercial offerings by the end of 2018. It would also have different clusters, and it will provide investment opportunities, and we would really encourage the overseas Pakistanis who are involved in this sector to be a part of this and start discussion with us so we can build these clusters based on your advice and your requirements. And this is going to be very cost-effective offering, not like the land prices in Islamabad and the vicinity. So the advantages will be that it takes about half an hour to travel from F6 to that site, and it has close proximity to the Islamabad airport, and all of the other, it has a close proximity to the academic cluster also. And the prices are going to be very low. So these are some of the things that we are hoping to build on. Currently, we are offering to the early stage IT companies, we are offering 50% subsidies in the IT parks. Previously, we had a different structure. We have revised that. On the training, we are conducting a different set of trainings. One of those that I mentioned is the youth employment program, where the total target is about 40,000 people in different skills area. So that out of the 40,000, I would ideally want that 2,000 of those people should be expert on Ruby on Rails, for example. Some of them should be good at Linux, some of them should be good at. So out of the total 40,000, we should have different percentages of people with a specific kind of skill so they can cater to the requirements of different industries. In Khyber Pakhtoon, we are trying to provide all of the business facilitation services, including legal services, including all of the local interpretation and local support in all of the sites that I just mentioned about. I'll briefly go through some of these. These are basically represent some of the projects that we have launched in the last 1 year. On the bottom left, you would see Durshal. Durshal is the largest tech incubator network of the country that we are setting up in Khyber Pakhtoon. There are a total of 13 tech incubators, and the reason why we are setting up these 13 is that the IT graduates are coming out of different districts. So there are universities in Swat. So graduate of Swat to come to Peshawar not to opt for a job, but rather to be an entrepreneur, and fight with all of his, parents, and because still this is a new idea, people are being pushed to be, opting for jobs. So we are actually taking these facilities closer to their home districts and also financially supporting them for a period of 6 months. We had very good success when we visited the valley. A number of people are now on the list of mentors on this Durshal project. So in a year, we will be producing 130 startups. So all of the overseas Pakistanis who are in this sector, they have they can do and have two roles in the Durshal. One is to be the mentors and share your expertise and guide those startups. The second one is you would also have the opportunity to be the investor in those startups. And those startups they don't require a lot of investment. So if you're working on fintech, if you're working on blockchain, if you're working on any other area of your interest, and if you find one of those startups to be working on that, so you can have that opportunity to be a part of that. E-Ilaj is the telemedicine solutions that we are launching in the remote areas of Khyber Pakhtoon. We started that in Mardan, in Mansehra. There is an area, a far-flung area called Bihali. It's about 27,000 people. We are connecting that to the team of specialist doctors so that the load on the tertiary care hospitals is reduced. And we are also encouraging the private sector to become investors as a part of the telemedicine and telehealth solutions. Realizing that a lot of things are now shifting into the cyberspace, and the government did not have any channelized mechanism of protecting its presence in the cyberspace. So the government of Khyber Pakhtoon launched KP CERC, KP Cyber Emergency and Response Center. The responsibility is two-pronged. One is to train people in the area of cybersecurity in different tracks. And the other one is to work as a government's watchdog to protect its presence in cyberspace. NetCamai is the impact sourcing project that Todd mentioned, and we graduated the first batch, and we are in negotiation with a number of other impact sourcing agencies in the US, and we are going to launch that. It comes under that BPO, but it's under that impact sourcing. And then early age programming is the last one that I would like to mention. You would have seen your Prime Minister, Trudeau, going to different schools. If you search it on YouTube, and if you search that hour of code, you would see Obama going to different US schools, inviting kids to the White House, and Trudeau going to different schools and sitting with kids. And they have a curriculum where they teach early age programming, and that's based on MIT Scratch and App Inventor. So what we did in Khyber Pakhtoon was that we started the same curriculum, and we launched that program in 300 government schools. And at the end of a year, those kids came up, and all of those kids had developed different sort of apps, and they had also animated the stories that they used to see in the books. So it's kind of unlocking the creativity of those kids of 7th grade in government schools, and they're from very poor backgrounds. So the government had invested in setting up 1,300 IT labs, and we actually tailored this program to enable those kids to learn more and make better use of all of this. So, ladies and gentlemen, all of this discussion translates into what we call the digital strategy for Khyber Pakhtoon, where the focus is on 4 main areas. The first one is digital access. A lot of our population is not on the internet. So part of one of the main focus areas that we have is to put more of them on the internet. And then it's not only about putting them onto the internet, it's more on they should be benefits associated with the internet, and that's to give them skills and the basic digital literacy, and then upskilling them. So that comes under digital access. You would have seen Pakistan and a lot of government departments are still lagging behind in automation and providing the services to the citizen. So the government to citizens engagement is a problem. The government to government engagement is also a problem. So every department has its own databases in different silos. They are not speaking to each other. They're not speaking to the government also. So it doesn't have that kind of transparency. It's difficult to interact with. So a part of one of the main focus areas that we have in the digital strategy is to improve on the digital governance. So, and we've started with police department. We're also going after the different hospitals to automate all of them. Then the third focus area is the digital economy, and one of those initiative that I mentioned is that Durshal project. Durshal is a Pashto word. Those who know Pashto, they would know Durshal is called Chokat. So it's like we want to kind of launch them through this Durshal. And there are 13 in Bannu, Dia Khan, Kohat, Haripur, Abbottabad, Peshawar, Swat, and so all of those areas where the IT graduates are going to come out. And then the fourth one is the digital skills, where we are providing the skill training to people according to industry requirement, including the BPO. So I'd be happy to take your questions, and thank you very much once again to be here.
We'll have lots of time for questions. Thank you so much, both Anna and Daoud. Incredible information. You know, I think what I got out of listening to all of this is the word born digital. And I believe that I've always thought that it's always harder to undo existing processes and structures than implement new ones. And I love, you know, I think everybody will agree the leaps and strides that are being made in this area are fantastic for facilitating what you guys are trying to do. So thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, people, projects, and nations need champions. There's plenty of champions who have a mandate, but not often is there someone that really takes accountability for, you know, what has been assigned to them.
You are watching Toronto 360 TV. Please don't go away. We'll be back after this commercial, so stay tuned.